South African Airways and striking metalworkers union NUMSA, as well as the South African Cabin Crew Association, are finalising a wage agreement that has been reached in principle. SAA management and union leaders are in the process of signing a deal which will see workers receiving a 5.9% wage increase in February next year.
Yeah, the two dominant unions at SAA made the announcement at a report-back briefing outside the Airlines headquarters. According to the two dominant unions, the airline has agreed to set up a task team that will review its procurement spend. Now, this is an effort to save the failing airline money and restore some good governance. Workers will receive an additional 2.1% wage increase if the review process yields results. The unions have also announced that SAA has agreed to defer its plans to retrench over 900 employees. Workers downed tools last week Friday, demanding an 8% wage increase. Meanwhile, SAA has signed a deal with a union not involved in the strike. The National Transport Movement is one of the largest unions at SAA, but its members are not participating in the strike now in its 8th day. For more now, we do cross to our reporter Mbalenhle Mthethwa, who's of course at Airlines Park in Kempton Park. Then, good afternoon to you, Mbalenhle. Certainly the news of perhaps a deal or no deal being signed right now is the big question. How far are we?
Good afternoon, Arabile. Yes, indeed, we are all waiting here outside Airways Park, waiting to hear if there is a deal or if there is no deal, whether the strike continues or if the strike ends today. I have been speaking to some of the workers that are sitting outside, camping really outside the gate, where union leaders are expected to walk out and give them an update as to what happened inside, behind that gate, where they're meeting with SAA management and they're expected to sign this deal that they've reached in principle. And speaking to some of them are saying that they would like to continue with the strike, and others are saying they are happy to go back to work. You understand that SAA has introduced its no work, no pay policy. So it means that workers will not get paid for the days that they did not report to work this week. And we understand that the strike has been ongoing for 8 days. So a lot of people have lost quite a huge chunk of their salaries as a result of the strike. However, I suppose what they were fighting for is far outweighs the losses that they've made in this 1 week. We understand that workers have been on strike, demanding an 8% wage increase. However, they have settled for a 5.9% wage increase, with the hopes that they will be able to get that additional 2.1% a bit later on. At this stage, we are still just waiting for an update, and we're waiting for that briefing that will tell us if the strike continues or ends today. But workers are hopeful that today is the last day of the strike. It's back to you in studio, Arabile.
Mbalenhle, I must ask then, however, though, if you could please share an operational update, perhaps, just to get exactly where we sit when it comes to flights. A whole host of local and international flights had also been put back in place as well. Where exactly do we sit with regards to that, if you do have an update for us?
Well, things are still the same. Essentially, we understand that SAA did start resuming international flights as early as Sunday this week, and they also started resuming local flights to Cape Town and to Durban. And they cancelled most of their flights between Friday and Saturday because they still needed to assess the extent of the strike, and they needed to be able to fly to various destinations safely. And they said that they needed to wait and see how many people report for duty before they could resume those flights. And as soon as people started returning to work, they then started resuming and adding a number of flights and a few regional flights. We understand that they did cancel a flight to Hong Kong yesterday. This was in the interest of saving the airline money, and they said that the strike is bleeding them a lot of money, and they cannot afford to fly to Hong Kong at this stage. However, However, we do understand that they need people to operate, to fly these airplanes, and also to check if the aircraft that they're going to be flying in is in good working condition. We understand the South African Civil Aviation Authority explained to me earlier this week that essentially before a flight leaves OR Tambo, we have technicians or engineers just overseeing the engine and just looking to see that there's nothing wrong with it, and they're also overlooked on the other side when they reach their destination, so inspected rather when they get to their destination. So they needed people who would be able to do that, and that is why they chose to cancel most of their flights and started resuming them as people started coming back to work.
Very finally, Mbalenhle, optimism then from those that are behind you, sort of camping out for that decision. Is there a sense of optimism that a deal will be reached?
Yes, indeed. As I said earlier, there are those who would prefer to continue with the strike, and there are those who are willing to go back to work. You understand that SAA would not be paying them for the days that they were on strike, and as a result, they would really appreciate going back to work and start earning some of their money, the money they lost, back. But however, there is a sense of optimism that the strike will end today, and that SAA management and unions will find each other today.
Mbalenhle Mthethwa, thank you so much for that at Airlines Park in, obviously in Kempton Park there, should I say as well, giving us the latest update with regards to that SAA strike, which does enter its second week. Indeed, harrowing strike there that has definitely cost over 200 million rand there.